Hello, I've just finished watching James Clear's masterclass course on small habits that make a big difference in your life. And it was fantastic. I actually watched it twice. I listened to it once while I was driving. I thought it was a sort of subject I could listen to without needing a visual thing. So I listened to the audio version once while I was driving, and it was so good. I got back to my office and I've just finished watching the whole thing whilst taking a million notes, because I really want to take action based on what I've learned in this session. It was so good. So firstly, big double thumbs up from me. This is probably one of the best courses I've done. And James Clear's fantastic. His book Atomic Habits was it's been in the New York Times best-selling list forever now. It's just been multi-millions of books sold, because everyone battles with this one. We all want to have healthy habits or productive habits or good money habits, or stop the bad habits, stop turning to scrolling on social media or snacking or smoking or drinking, or we're all as humans trying to readjust and make the subconscious things we do all day every day lead to a better life for us. And James Clear's did a fantastic job in this course and in his book, but I think in this course it really was so well demonstrated what we need to do to get on top of our habits, and how to not beat ourselves up about making the habits really hard to achieve. It's actually all about starting really small. And actually module 1 is actually very easy to get your head around, getting 1% better every day. So a lot of focus on just showing up rather than taking on these great big difficult challenges and great big goals. So really the focus, you'll learn, is that it's more about setting up systems than goals. So rather than having, say, a goal of I'm going to lose 20 pounds, the system is you get up, you do how many steps a day, you might build up on the number of steps you take a day, but the things you can control are the day-to-day actions, and then the goal is what you're working towards. That comes later. But it's really hard to stay motivated and do work every day and make effort towards something that's a long-term goal in the future. But you can live and breathe your system. You can design your system. You can design your habits to give you the lifestyle you want and the results you want. So that's explained better in module 2 by James Clear, better than I can describe it. And there's also a big link between habits and identity. So if somebody wants to stop smoking, rather than the battle of trying to reject the cigarette that they're offered by their friends who all smoke, they don't have to do the battle about saying no to the cigarette. They just, in their head, say, I'm not a smoker. I'm no longer a smoker, so I don't go out with those people at that time of day to that place around the back of the office. It's just a complete switch to who you are, who you associate with, how you see yourself. Somebody might be doing a challenge, the Couch to 5k running challenge. They're now a runner. They might not be about to qualify for the Boston Marathon, but they're now a runner. And it's just that change of identity, and they see their running shoes and they get up and go running. So habits are all formed with a loop, and there's a cue. So you see the biscuits or the cookies on the bench, and that triggers a craving. You can imagine how sweet and delicious and tasty they're going to be. And then when you eat the cookies, you obviously get some kind of reward, which is that it tastes really nice because you chose that response of eating it. So you can actually change a lot of your habits just by changing the cues. Maybe the runner puts their shoes out in the morning, it's the first thing they see, or the writer has a post-it note with the next article on their screen when they open up their laptop. So that reinforces a positive habit. Or a negative habit, if you don't see the cookies because they're not in your house, that's better. It's easier to avoid a habit when you don't get triggered with that cue, which is something that you would normally do. So when we come in from a day at work, we can have a cue of pour a glass of wine, or pick up the remote control and turn on Netflix, or scroll on your phone. Or the cue could be works out great, I get to go to the gym and work out now and bust all that stress. And a lot of it's really easy to set up because we have the luxury of being able to really deliberately design the environment where we see the cues or don't see the cues, where we get the rewards we want, and make it easy to do those things. So it might be that you enlist some sort of social factors to try and reinforce the positive habits. One of the things to make it a change really easy to implement is to make it obvious, that self-awareness of where your habit starts. What's the thing that you see or do? Is it the fact that your phone's on your desk next to you when you're meant to be working, and so you pick up your phone and you get distracted? How about you leave your phone in a different room when you sit down to work. That was a nice easy one. That's what he does, so I'm going to start using that one, apart from I did this video straight after watching it, so my phone's still on my desk, and if it pings I will definitely get distracted. Not now because it's on silent. And then the second thing was to make it really attractive, and there were some good examples that he gave there. So one thing is just to appreciate the opportunity we have to design our life. He had a coach doing sports at university who didn't, when they all had to go and train in the gym and everybody would be grumbling, he says, you don't have to do this workout, you get to do this workout. It's a privilege, it's your choice, and it's strengthening your bodies and increasing your fitness. And your brain can really change. It's very flexible, and your brain will be really good at helping you pick up these new good habits if you set them up in the right way, following these systems by firstly making it really obvious which cues you want to see in your day, and then making it really easy and attractive to get in and do that habit. Making it easy is the 7th module here, actually, and that was really good. So you've got to be really specific when and where those habits you want are going to occur. So it could be, for his example, he gets somebody to help him draft the newsletter that he writes every week, and he always edits the topics, but it's much easier for him to pick up a draft and edit that and start his work on something somebody else has started than stare at a blank piece of paper and wait for inspiration. I do some things like I have a little ritual. So when I sit down to write a big article, because I always do a nice big write-up article on these courses I watch, I light a really nice candle. And on one of my other businesses where I go and do lots of podcasts, I have a little sticker chart. So I have my little list of podcasts I'm recording. And then I'm so childish, but I have little stars that I stick on my chart that's usually pinned up on my wall. But it's really satisfying to stick the star on. And I've got a target of 35 podcast recordings between now and the end of the year. So I can do that if I keep up the pace. And I know I'm on track. If I'm not putting those stickers on, I'm not doing the habit that leads to the success of that business. So, lots to do. Shouldn't be looking at that. So anyway, it's a great course, as well as making it really satisfying in the actual task itself. So having the right gear, finding friends to do that habit with, maybe something really visual that makes it satisfying. So if you're trying to save money and you don't eat out, you put some cash in the jar of how much you would have spent on that meal, and you can see the visual difference. He talks about a guy who worked in a sales role who used to transfer paper clips from one jar to the next jar on his desk every time he made a sales call. He couldn't control which clients would buy or which sales call would lead to the big sales, but his action and the habit he could control that he had to do was just moving the paperclip, and he found that satisfying. He got like a dopamine hit from the action of moving the paperclip from one jar to the other. So one trap that he points out is around that difference between motion and action. So if he's trying to write a book, reading another book for research is definitely work and it's definitely motion, but it's not that output, it's not the action that leads to the results. So you've got to be really careful that you're focused on the right habit, which will be writing the words, not reading other people's great books. Getting all the norms around you and the socialization right can really help funnel you automatically into the right behaviour. So if you live in a neighbourhood where everybody keeps their lawns and gardens immaculate and tidy, then you've got that kind of social pressure, not just your own motivation to look after your lawn and leave your own yard and front garden looking lovely and tidy. If you were going to work on getting up earlier in the morning, maybe the thing you start with is your wind down and end of day routine and your earlier bedtime. So lots of really practical tips, and obviously somebody like James Clear has heard all the challenges and all the most common habits, and there's even a whole module on the most common habits. Some of those are around workplace things and productivity, some are about health, and whichever one your habits are that you want to improve and start doing, or some bad habits you want to stop, there's a really formulaic way that James teaches you in this course to go through. So I think it was a fantastic course. A really important message is that good habits give us freedom, and so you are a product of your habits. They all incrementally build up and compound, and it shapes who you are. It shapes your work results, it shapes your family relationships, it shapes your success in the workplace and everything else, health, the lot. So I really, really enjoyed it. I think anybody anybody would benefit from this. It's one of those meta skills that if you can have those little habits working for you all day, every day, you just knock a few of the bad habits slowly, you build up on some of the positive ones slowly. It's very passive, it's very easy. He reminds us that you're either, he's got a great quote which was from, who was it? Wait, you either win or you learn. Who said that? I wrote it down and I've lost it. Can't find it, but you don't ever lose, you either win or you learn. I mean, that's a really nice philosophy. So with these habits, you don't beat yourself up. If you have a slip up, you get back on. It's not an all or nothing thing. So anyway, I reckon that you will love James Clear's course on habits. It would take you quite a good few hours to read the book cover to cover, but these 10 lessons, it takes 1:29 if you play it on normal, regular speed. I listened to it 1.5 times the second time. There's some nice little actions and challenges to implement at the end of each of these modules, and before you know it, you'll have a great set of new habits and be really, really grateful that you spent a couple of hours thinking about this, putting some work in and setting in motion some really positive habits for your life. So all the very best with your habit forming and of the good ones and dropping of the bad habits. And I think this course is a really motivating and inspiring session. I think you'll really love it. So click on the link and you can get started on Masterclass and have a great experience learning from James Clear.